of players who don't produce because you fell in love with them once at the combine when you went there and they smiled at you and they were like, hey, Chase, I can do a vertical jump. And you're like, oh, yeah, Joe Reed, get on my roster, buddy, and I'll never let you go.
I actually cut Joe Reed.
You cut? Oh, my God.
It was painful. It was painful. Oh, man. You pulled a whole. Oh, my God. I just said I cut Joe Reed on a live feed. You pulled a Chase.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought you had, there's like those people that are hoarders. I don't know what you're like in your real life. I've never been to your home, but you're a dynasty hoarder.
I'm a minimalist, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a question for you Americans. What's the deal with Applebee's? Do you guys like Applebee's? It seems like you guys do.
I mean, no one likes Applebee's. It's not like anyone's first choice is ever like, hey, it'd be fucking kick ass tonight. What? Let's do some Applebee's. It's kind of like, I'm starving. I don't quite want a Happy Meal, but I also don't really feel like paying for a real meal. So I'm going to go to Applebee's.
So Shane, I thought the same that you just put out there, but I made a tweet and I said, I was talking about why talent wins at running back. And I said, teams don't run in committees, inadequate running backs do. Consider, if you won the lottery, would you still eat at Applebee's? And I had a bunch of people reply, and they're like, absolutely I would, because the quesadilla burger is the greatest thing on earth. And then other people were talking about something called the chicken fajita roll-up. And what I want to know about Applebee's is nothing just one thing? Why do they keep compounding things? Like, why is it a chicken fajita roll-up? Like, can we just have a chicken fajita? Why is it a quesadilla burger? Like, there's quesadillas and there's burgers. I'm very flummoxed. And my overall question is, as America, a country that worships something called the quesadilla burger, why are you against universal health care?
First off, to answer your question, I don't know why they compound everything. I don't have a clue. Maybe Shane can actually answer that. But I will sit there and say that if I had an option of like TGI Fridays or Applebee's, I'm taking TGI Fridays every time.
Okay, those are the same. Like, those are the same thing.
No, they're not.
These are restaurants that you find in the parking lots of malls.
Well, yes, but they're very different. They're very different. Fridays is definitely a tier. So we were talking about Devin Duvernay for no particular reason, right? So it's kind of like Miles Boykin would be Applebee's, and Devin Duvernay would be like TGI Fridays.
And then Rashad Bateman would be like McDonald's.
And then I would say
Rashad Bateman would be fucking Ruth Chris, you fucking fuck.
And then I think that Chili's would be Lamar Jackson, because sometimes you have to take a shit in an inopportune time.
I don't know if that's how these analogies work.
I don't how it's working now.
I don't know that there's any Chili's still open, are there?
Cheesecake Factory. We got a Cheesecake Factory from Dave. I don't know anything about the Cheesecake Factory except that that's where Penny from Big Bang Theory worked. Do they sell cheesecake there? Is it a factory in like the Henry Ford type of way? What's the story about Cheesecake Factory?
I've never been to Cheesecake Factory, actually. So
I have one time. It was a really big building for how much seating was there. So maybe they do have a factory in the back. I don't know. I don't think it's like China size like factories, but like we're talking about like an American size factory, it could be that size of factory.
Are Chinese factories larger than American factories?
Yeah, they're like 20 football field sizes, like big. They're massive.
No, I'm looking at the Applebee's menu right now.
Okay, what looks good? What looks good, Shane?
So I'm not gonna lie to you. My kids, they're not very picky, but they love quesadillas. So I would order quesadillas from there all the time.
Would you get the quesadilla burger?
No, just regular chicken quesadillas. My kids are normal. Okay. And then I would always get the brownie ice cream dessert. So
I feel like it's a good place to bring your kids. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's a kid. Like, you don't want to spend a lot of money on your kids because they're not gonna respect the food that you're giving them. If you take them to a fine steakhouse, they're probably not gonna like it. Like, oh, this steak's bloody, and then you punch them in the nose, and then they're bleeding all over the place, and everyone looks at you funny. Like, whatever.
This is Dynasty Intervention. to intervene with your fantasy life, Shane Manila, Jacob Sanderson, and Chase Vernon.
What's up, guys and gals and everybody? Welcome into the Dynasty Intervention. I didn't scream the intro this time, so that's an improvement. We're here with Chase, as always. We're here with Shane, as always. Our guest is Adrian Peterson, who just admitted to whooping his kids at a roof.
Dude, I was like, all right, now's the time to go live.
Shane, I wanted to really continue that conversation, and I'm very upset that Chase, went full stall in there, just yanking us into the music intro. But Shane, when you're not punching your kids in the face for ordering a rare steak, what are you up to these days?
Absolutely nothing. And it's funny is I don't even eat steak rare. I think that's disgusting. It grosses me out when people get bloody steaks.
You're well down with ketchup guy?
No ketchup, Jesus. But well done. Definitely well done.
That's so gross.
I don't like blood coming out of things that I'm eating. Just my personal preference.
Oh man, Shane, you got a lot to learn, man. You got a lot to learn. It's growing up over there in Philly, and eating those Philly cheesesteaks and stuff. You don't ever get to really eat some fine steaks, some fine, bloody, phenomenal steak.
Shane, have you ever had a steak that's not covered in cheese, green peppers, onions, and a roll?
Yeah, like three times.
All right, Chase, how are you doing today? You're a man that appreciates a steak. Me, you, Dave are all on the same team. I see Lindsay's in the chat. He's with Shane. They're very wrong people. Chase, how are you doing, and how do you like your steak cooked?
Oh, I'm rare all the way through and through. I mean, actually, sometimes I don't even cook it. I just take it straight out of the package and eat it the way it is. I think that's actually probably the best way to do it.
That's a sign of a serial killer.
Oh, shit. I mean, I cook mine slightly.
Does anyone know, anyone watch Silence of the Lambs? Do you remember he's like, I'll have lamb chops, extra rare.
Yes. You remind me of him very much.
Quid
the
pro
Cheesecake
quo,
Factory.
Shane. You tell me things, I tell you things. Tell me when the lamb stops screaming.
has a lot of cheesecakes. I'm looking at their menu too.
Thanks, Shane. Shane is. We've decided that Shane sometimes struggles to focus when other people are talking, and often he gets lost in the chat. So this time we've just tasked him with figuring out the best catering for our Tuesday night shows. So we have him looking through an assortment of mall parking lot restaurants. So he's looked through Applebee's. He's currently on Cheesecake Factory. We're really close to, I think, narrowing in on Fridays, Chili's, and eventually I think there was a big Culver's controversy on fantasy Twitter the other day. So maybe we'll work in that. As you can tell, it's a bit of a slow point in the Dynasty season, with us talking about steak and all. But what we do have is a lot of fun workout videos. We have a lot of players in shorts catching footballs without anyone covering them, dropping footballs without anyone covering them. And that's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover the news of the week. We're going to cover some of the hot new workout videos, some of the rookies that are getting good press in camps. And then we're going to move on. We're going to pioneer a new segment that's called Cut or Not Cut. First, we're going to talk about it with some actual NFL implications, whether these players are going to get cut. And then we're gonna talk to Chase, who's the fantasy football hoarder, who is known for falling in love with players and allowing them to rot on his bench. And we're gonna offer some counseling on guys at the end of your bench, whether it's time to say goodbye or not say goodbye. But first, hot news of the week: Urban Meyer. It's becoming increasingly likely that he has absolutely no clue what he's doing running an NFL franchise. And this week, he had Travis Etienne lined up at wide receiver. Curious, we'll start with Shane and then go to Chase. What do you make of this? Is this just a mini camp one-off? Is he going to play wide receiver? Is this a hybrid? And, what are your immediate take here? Let's just start with Etienne specifically, and then we'll sort of move on to the rest of the Jaguars and how we see this.
So here's the thing. I would chalk it up to just like, it's mini camp, rookie camp, whatever we're doing is for shits and giggles, right? But Urban Meyer has a pronounced history of just doing stupid shit because he's a raging fucking moron. So
I love how measured you are, Shane.
Well, look, someone put out the tweet. I think it was last week when they were just kind of like, what's the funniest Urban Meyer story so far? Is it when he hired like the racist assistant coach? Is it when he decided that he was going to draft a running back in the first round and then convert him to a wide receiver? Look, as long as he keeps his running back eligibility, I don't care. I hope he sees 115 targets at wide receiver, and if he gets 70 carries, fine. I'm not going to be too concerned about it, only because I don't think Urban Meyer is long for the NFL, just based off what I've seen so far.
Chase, let's throw it over to you. What are your takes on this for ETN? And then why don't we expand you to the next chain? What does this mean for James Robinson and Carlos Hyde, if you're into that?
We do a Washington football show, Washington football team show every Monday, right, at 8:00. And I actually went through. Oh no, this was actually for the Wednesday show last week. We do a show on Wednesdays at 8:00, and I went through and I was like, man, Urban Meyer's team reminds me of like Steve Spurrier's team, about how he got a whole bunch of wide receivers, he got a whole bunch of like speed on the field. So I went back and I looked at Steve Spurrier's first draft. They only had one difference of players that they drafted. Steve Spurrier drafted a fullback, and Urban Meyer drafted a linebacker. And the only difference that they had over their first 4 picks was a pick that they ended up swapping in the 3rd and 5th rounds. So over the first 4 picks, they took a quarterback. It's like quarterback, running back, cornerback, something else, and then cornerback again. So, or I guess that was first 5 picks. But either way, like, it's crazy as to how similar this, 2 college coaches who are, known to be a prolific type talent that's going to come in and change the culture of an organization, a losing organization. All of a sudden, they come in and they almost do it the same exact way. Now, obviously, it remains to be seen of what happens in the future coming up there. Steve Spurrier was only there for 2 years, and also you have a prolific quarterback. Yeah, mercifully. You have a prolific quarterback versus Patrick Ramsey. But, one of the things that I wanted to see more of was them actually building up the offensive line for Jacksonville. That didn't happen as much, so that remains to be seen if Trevor Lawrence can deal with the pressure. But as for Travis Etienne, yeah, there's going to be some weird shit that happens over there. There's going to be a lot of weird shit. So sitting there and looking at it, I mean, let me see. I'm looking at Chase Edmonds' snaps in the slot last year. And I feel like this could be kind of similar to it, where you saw about 110 snaps on the slot and about another additional 35 on the left outside and the right outside. That's according to RotoWire. I could see something similar to that happening, but take away like probably a good 20% of those all together. So I'm thinking he could see probably like 100, 110 snaps as a wide receiver this upcoming year. You got to learn a whole new route tree. And the first thing that comes to mind was Tim Tebow when they were showing the highlights of him playing tight end and the first pass that Mark Sanchez ever threw to him.
The lead? My bad. I'm sorry. We didn't even lead with Tebow.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, this is just going to be like Tebow-esque, but with ETN and then Tebow as well. So it's interesting to see like this whole offense and how they're going to run it, because it's just a giant just clusterfuck right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, Hoosker, thanks for tuning in. We will get to that question later on for sure. Just hang tight for now. As for this, I mean, here's the thing about this. In a vacuum, it's logical, right? So for anyone that doesn't know and wasn't reading the beat reports, you know me, I'm always grinding the beat reports. Trevor Lawrence is a torn labrum. So I don't actually understand how this works, but apparently he could throw, but he can't hand off. Seems a little sketchy to me, but that's what people were saying that know more than I did. I know it doesn't quite add up to me.
Well, he had surgery, right?
Yeah, but what I don't understand how he can not hand off, but he can throw. But whatever, that's what they're saying. So
because it was his left arm, so when he would go do left arm handoffs.
Okay, sure. All right. Okay, so he can throw with his arm in a sling or whatever, but he can't. It's fine. So
it's fine.
Basically, the choices are Travis Etienne can either do running back drills off to the side, because there we go, Dave, non-throwing arm. So I don't know why you can't just use his throwing arm to do some drills, but whatever. Anyway, non-throwing arm, labrum injury, can't hand off. So basically, the choices are either Travis Etienne can not take handoffs and just do running back drills off to the side, or he can run some routes. And it's not like they have a full complement of receivers in camp, right? He's not really taking work from anybody. So these are all useful skills to learn, right? If you're a running back, sometimes you're going to line up out at wide receiver. almost anyone does, unless you're Derrick Henry. Or at the very least, you're going to be running some routes out of the backfield. And obviously, Travis Etienne was a pretty prolific pass-catching back in college. So getting him integrated on that side of the offense, I think makes a lot of sense. The issue is that we have no reason to believe that Urban Meyer is a rational actor. So I'm kind of tenuous with going ahead and assuming the best for Urban Meyer in this particular circumstance. And that's why I'm a little sketched out. That being said, I think it's great for Etienne, right? I mean, targets, like Shane said, they're worth more than carries at the running back position. I would be thrilled if Travis Etienne is going to see 100, 110, 120 targets. And I still think if it comes down to only one running back backfield, it's going to be mostly Etienne's, at least by midseason. But for James Robinson, I mean, this is great, right? I mean, if there's any sort of formula where the combined snap share of those two ends up being like 120% instead of 100%, obviously it leaves a lot more room for maybe both of those guys to be top 24 running backs. The question is, if that does happen, who does that take away from? A lot of people, of course, saying that takes away from Laviska Shenault. What are your opinions on sort of the rest of this team? Shenault, Chark, Marvin Jones, who could potentially be at risk of getting urbaned here? And we'll finish out this segment on the Jags, and then we're going to get to your question there, Husker.
It's a lot of Jags conversation. I mean, don't undersell the fact that Tebow's there. How many targets is he going to get? I mean, he probably.
How many jump passes is he going to throw?
Yeah, no, Laviska's obviously the one that's going to be hurt most by this. I don't think it affects Chark unless Etienne's going to play the X, which who knows? He might. I mean, it's Urban freaking Meyer.
No, it's going to be Colin Johnson playing the X.
Okay, you're crazy. You're like Urban Meyer. You're our Urban Meyer. I don't remember what I was talking about, but you know what this should do? This gives you a sell opportunity on James Robinson. You can just start to make any targets. We like making judgments way too early, Toronto Dave.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have a show.
Yeah. So anyway, but take this opportunity to try to sell James Robinson to people that are like, oh, but Etienne's going to play wide receiver all the time, so Robinson's going to be the running back. He's going to be running back one.
Whose voice is that?
I'm not sure. That's how I hear voices sometimes.
I think it's like
those are the voices
like
in his head.
60% Rodney Dangerfield and 40% James Robinson truthers on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing
Robinson doesn't get no respect.
The thing about James Robinson and his value is all the value that is being made up from James Robinson is by people that already own James Robinson. So if you go to try and buy James Robinson, they're asking for like high-end picks. If you go to sell him, you won't be able to find 11 other people in your league that are willing to take him on. So it's all this value is created by the people who already own him, not the people that are obviously trying to invest.
Why are you describing a gangbang? 11 people want to take them on. Like, no, Jesus Christ, that's disgusting. You can find people in your league that want to buy them. There's people in your league. And
a lot of bad fantasy players out there.
Yeah, like when I said a couple weeks ago, like, you better sell Myles Gaskin. Like, you got a reprieve, dick face. Like, you are lucky. And someone tweeted back. And the only time they ever interacted with me is to shit on me. So they tweeted back at me like, "Oh, are we just playing leagues with really smart people? Just smart people?" Like, shut up, stupid. No, you don't. The fact is, half the league wants to win now, and half the league thinks that they're outsmarting someone. So on either side. So you can make a move. Don't pretend you can't make a move. You could sell James Robinson. If you can't sell James Robinson, you shouldn't be playing fantasy football. Anyway,
what do you think you can get for him right now?
Early second?
Yeah, that's good enough for me. Because his value is going to be nothing this time next year. When we go, oh, remember James, what was his name? Roche? Robertson? James Robertson, that's it.
I think Simon and Garfunkel actually, it's little known, but Simon and Garfunkel were really into fantasy football. Yeah. Right. And that's what they said. They said, "Where have you gone, James Robinson?" Yeah. And it was a great, hit back in the day, in the early days of fantasy football. I think my take on Shenault, to steer it back to my show sheet, which we all find so precious on this show, is that the bet on Shenault was never on Shenault the gadget guy, right? Like, there's a very limited ceiling for gadget type players. If that was all Shenault was ever going to be, he was probably never going to be able to pay off his value in a major way. If you're a Shenault believer like I am, your hope was that he could usurp DJ Chark and become that X wide receiver. And if he, I think what's happening right now is it's pretty clear that he's not going to be the gadget guy. There's about 17 other choices to be the gadget player in Jacksonville, unless they just run an all gadget guy offense, which also seems very likely. However, I think the calculus on Shenault really remains the same. The floor might have dropped out, but your ceiling projection is always that he's going to develop into that X role. I still think he has an opportunity to do that potentially this year. Marvin Jones just on a 1-year contract. Chark only has 1 year left on his deal, and there was a little bit of smoke about him potentially being traded even. So we'll see what Shenault can do this year and whether he can take over that role for next year. Let's quickly answer Husker's question here. Set Dynasty 12-team Superflex tight end premium league. Would you trade Davante Adams and Devontae Smith for Trey Lance and Noah Fant? That's like actually really close.
I don't think it's that close. I mean, you're talking about, a player that, maybe was selected 5 picks after Trey Lance and Devontae Smith, and then you're talking about Davante Adams, who you could still probably get 2 first-round picks for, especially if you wait till the season starts. I think you could. I think you
get 2 first-round picks for Trey Lance, that's for sure.
Possibly, but we don't know what's going to happen with Trey Lance yet.
But it's Dynasty, dude. This is what we do. We project. We project everything. Everything's going to go great for Trey Lance. He's going to throw for 4,500 yards, and he's probably going to run for 1,100 yards.
So I'm not on the Trey Lance train as much as a lot of other people are. I still think he's going to be very good. I just don't know how good.
Can you at least call it the Train Lance?
The Train Lance from here on out. He's now known as the Train Lance. Wait, is that a thing already? Is anybody saying that?
No, but I just made it a thing, so now it's a thing.
Okay, we're calling him the Train Lance from now. No, I'm not on the Train Lance as much as everybody else is. I'm not saying that he's terrible or anything, but I still want to see what happens with this offense. I still want to see how they operate with him. I still think that he could be the starter by halfway through the season, but I still think that you could end up getting more immediate trade back or value back from Davante Adams right now and Devonta Smith than you could for Trey Lance and Noah Fant. I mean, Noah Fant's fallen off real quick as of late.
Oh, come on. I don't know. I think it's close. I think it's pretty dependent on team need, which is something I never really say. But I think personally I would take Trey Lance ahead of Davante Adams in a startup right now, just based on quarterback valuation. I think Davante's situation is a little bit uncertain. I'm personally of the opinion I don't think we'll see Rodgers back in Green Bay. If we do see Rodgers in Green Bay, then Davante Adams still a top 5 dynasty wide receiver, bar none. I would take Devontae Smith over Noah Fant though. So I think I'm kind of even, maybe hedging a little bit to the Devontae ×2 side of things. Certainly closer than Chase's. Shane, where do you land here on this question? And will you trade Tyler Miles Sanders or Emmanuel Sanders? Maybe that's who he wants. I'm not sure.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with Tyler's offers is they're garbage. And basically I had his phone number and I was going to text him and I was actually going to call him and be like, the fuck is wrong with you? And I don't like,
I know you're old when you say you're going to call someone.
Yeah. And I normally want
on your rotary dial.
Yes. On my rotary. Anyway, now I'll take the Trey Lance side. Look, I understand what Chase is saying, but I also know Davante Adams' value dips and dips and dips and dips every day. Because he's 28 years old, 29 years old, however old he is, he's old in the eye of the dynasty community. It doesn't matter if he truly is. It doesn't matter if that he actually can produce probably through his age 31 season like elite wide receivers do. But all that said, I still want the quarterback at Superflex. I want the top 10 quarterback because Lance is already a top 10 quarterback.
Ooh.
And Fant in the tight end premium. Yeah, I'm good with that.
I still just think you get more than Trey Lance, for that pick or for Devontae Adams. I just think you get more for him, and I don't see the point in trading him for Devontae Adams when you're already trading more in Devonta Smith over Noah Fant.
Let's we have a split opinion here. Let's go quickly. We got another trade question here. This is actually Dynasty Trades HQ now. All of a sudden, instead of Dynasty Intervention. All right, we got Christian McCaffrey and Irv Smith. First of all, get an avatar. If you're going to submit questions, questions always look better with an avatar, Tyler. Christian McCaffrey and Irv Smith or Jamar Jefferson. Oh, wait, no, maybe it means Josh Jacobs? No, Justin Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson and Mark Andrews, I'm assuming. Or Christian McCaffrey and Irv Smith. I will take the CMC and Irv side, but it's close. What say you two?
Oh, this trade I'm involved in, so I can't comment.
Okay. Chase? Oh, well, I'm sure that Shane took the JJ side because he just loves wide receivers.
He said you can imagine what he looks like. He does not need an avatar. You can just imagine him. So actually,
I don't have a very good imagination.
I'm sitting there and I love Justin Jefferson. I have Justin Jefferson in 80% of my leagues right now. So I love Justin Jefferson, but I think I'm going to take CMC and Irv Smith Jr. over JJ and Andrews. I'm not as big on Andrews, and I think that Irv Smith has a potential breakout year. He is the second most points per target for a tight end, or per route run. It's route run, I think, for a tight end position, courtesy of Player Profiler. And if he saw the 37 more targets that Kyle Rudolph saw, then he would have ended up as the tight end 3 this past year. Now, I know it's all ifs and ands and whatever. But
that's how it works. That's exactly how
it works.
Every target that disappears is immediately absorbed by someone else on the roster.
It's good that we brought this up, right? It's too bad we didn't bring this up last week with Peter Howard because he loves talking about vacated targets.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, anyways, point being to my conversation was, if he got every single one, but that's not how it works. If he got 25 of them, he still would have been a top 6 tight end. So just 25 extra targets, which I think you could easily see this season.
So you're not worried about Rashad Bateman eating into any of that target share, or the fact
Irv Smith, you big goofball.
Oh, Irv Smith, wrong.
Come on, Shane. Were you spending too much time looking up the Cheesecake Factory menu?
Sorry.
I'm talking about Irv Smith Jr. and the vacated targets from obviously the guy who saw, I believe, close to more snaps than him, if not equal amount of snaps. And the targets that he could see. Now, he's not going to see all of them. There's no way he's going to see all of them, but he will see a portion of them.
Wait, what side of this trade did you like? You like the CMC and Irv Smith side?
I like the CMC and Irv Smith side too.
Oh, so both you guys want CMC, Irv Smith. So there you go, Tyler. You do what you want to do there, buddy.
Chat TV resigned. Yeah, we don't care. Where's the Steve Smith meme? We don't care. We don't care. Okay, the question for Dustin Ross, and this is not just a mailbag show, so we'll take this one. Then I'll go quickly to the next topic here, but I'm having fun with y'all. Dustin, who's been trying to make me overpay for Cortland Sutton for about, 8 months, something like that, 8 or 9 months, about the term of a pregnancy, says, why do people forget how good Cortland Sutton is? People are saying he's not worth an Applebee's coupon at this point. I'm curious who the people are, Dustin, who have actually said that. I would like to know who you're quoting. But it's out there saying he's not worth an Applebee's coupon. I have not forgotten how good Cortland Sutton is. I have him ahead of Jerry Jeudy, and I have him in my top 24 dynasty receivers, and I would like you to take one of my several reasonable trade offers for Cortland Sutton in our league together. Shane and Chase, what do you think about Cortland Sutton? Please say he's bad. I would like you to bring down his trade value in our league.
Well, no. So he's a perfectly fine wide receiver too. I mean, I don't get hot and bothered over wide receiver 2s because I can get wide receiver 2s, fairly easy. But no, he's a good wide receiver too. No, he's definitely worth more than an Applebee's coupon though. Because does Applebee even give coupons? Like they're so.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Chase knows he's into the Applebee's couponing.
I would say he's definitely like a Dunkin' Donuts gift card, where you can get several iced coffees. But no, I like Cortland Sutton fine still. And no, Jerry Jeudy's actually better than him, but that's okay. It's not like either one of them is going to be seeing 170 targets on that roster while the other one is there. But he's a perfectly fine wide receiver too.
Chase, are you on Team Sutton or Team Wrong with Jerry Jeudy?
$5 off. $25 for new customers only at Applebee's. How do they know you're a new customer? That's what I want to know.
Chase is absolutely not a new customer, so that does not apply. That man has had several potato skins at the Bees.
I couldn't if I wanted to, man. I don't even know if there's an Applebee's close to my house anymore. The only one that was, my childhood place where I grew up at is gone now. No, but
you grew up at an Applebee's?
No, I'm totally kidding.
Where specifically, like inside the kitchen or in like the parking lot?
So Sutton, for me, it all depends on who's the starting quarterback for Denver.
Aaron Rodgers.
If Aaron Rodgers wheels up, if it's Cortland or if it's Drew Lock, then I give him more, I guess, a little bit higher of a hand up than I'm going to give him if Teddy Bridgewater's the quarterback, because Teddy Bridgewater's not going to be able to give him shots down the field. But
so you like Locke over Teddy Bridgewater?
For Cortland Sutton, yeah. Just for Sutton, not for the rest of the offense.
No.
Sutton alone.
Because Locke will throw up balls that he shouldn't to Sutton in like triple coverage, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
Yes. And Sutton will come down with 20% of those, and another 40% of the ones that are like in double coverage, and then another 60% of the ones in single coverage. But yeah, so I like it better with Drew Lock, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater. So I don't have Cortland Sutton as high. I think I have him like wide receiver 20 or something like that.
All right, let's quickly pivot to our next topic. If you're on Twitter these days, first of all, go outside. It's nice. It just became summer in Canada the other day, so I'm actually drinking a cider now. This is a Savannah Premium Dry Cider from South Africa. Shout out to South Africa. And if you do go on Twitter, you'll see a lot of videos from camp. Is anyone popping out to you from all of the workout videos, and specifically, some big things that have come across the wire recently that seem very impactful? Devontae Smith dropped a screen pass. He dropped one screen pass, so that's certainly troubling. Big. Mike Davis, his thighs are the size of the Thing from the DC Cinematic Universe or Marvel. I don't know the difference. And Kadarius Toney got off on the wrong foot. He doesn't know how to wear shoes. Any of those three popping out to you, or what is the most interesting rookie camp hype train outside of the whole Jacksonville Jaguars hilarity? And do you know how to wear shoes?
Dude,
Shane, we'll start with you.
No. I got to start because I have to say how important workout videos are for Shane. Like we talked about it the other day for like hours, and all he was raving about was how important workout videos are and how important the pro day drills were and everything like that. So Shane, I know they're really important to you, and I can understand. Like I can get on board with it from time to time, but I mean, dude, you're going to end up chasing everybody away because you're going to tell everybody how much they mean to you without letting everybody know that, hey, just because they're important to you doesn't mean they're important to fantasy football.
All right, well, now going live to our workout video correspondent, Shane, what are your thoughts?
No, look, the preseason workout is super important. JJ Arcega-Whiteside has had 2 outstanding camps with the Eagles, and we saw how that just immediately translate. Yeah, I could get, as long as these guys, like the video isn't of them attacking someone or being attacked by a wild animal, I don't give a shit.
Like the Bobcat video?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah, but like a little bigger. Like, because these guys are big. Like, they destroy that Bobcat.
Well, not Devontae Smith.
Well, not Devontae Smith. He would die. The Bobcat would eat him.
Tutu Atwell.
Yeah, those are snacks. But no. My favorite video.
Question last week. God.
My favorite video so far has been Rashad Bateman running routes against no one.
Yes,
he's done it really well, and I thought he could run, and he can really run. He can physically run, so that's awesome. I mean,
the one where he turned around and caught the ball, and everybody's like, "Damn, did you see his body adjustment?" It was like he did a 180 while already.
No, I mean it's good when you put in all this work in the summer, and you're like, "Look, I think this guy can move like a human being and catch the ball with his hands," and he does it, and you're just like, "Wow, I was spot on." So no, I could not care less about the workout videos. I know.
Well, unfortunately for De'Ami Brown, he actually has not cut the ball with his hands yet. It's been a body catch every time.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. But
I'm kidding.
Hey, at least he knows how to wear shoes
on his hands. The Eagles. So I thought this was interesting. Now the Eagles are going to have absolutely no physical drills, going like cornerback versus wide receiver, like no 7-on-7s, no 11 men until the official training camp. And I wonder if a lot of NFL teams are going to do that because a lot of the players were boycotting camp because, well, it's stupid. And they get hurt, and there's the whole COVID thing that's really not under wraps yet. So that'll be interesting because we're going to see a lot of videos of dudes just working by themselves. And Twitter, like the Twitter hype video machine conglomerate, is really going to have to work overtime.
Especially when they do that, like to some sort of rap music.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you combine workout drills with props and overlay some rap music, like our boy Ezekiel Elliott did the other day, people got really, 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 really excited about that. I don't think there's much here.
Trash cans. He was running over trash cans. Yeah, he was
practicing for the Eagles.
You're the second person.
Sorry, Shane. I know you're a big Eagles fan.
Good jerk.
Well, let's.
I heard
move
they're going to be
it.
using dodgeball from here on out. Like they're just going to be like training using dodgeball.
Well, yeah, no,
They
they're
abandoned rock
actually.
paper scissors.
It's from the movie Dodgeball. They're going to be throwing wrenches at people because if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball. Wait,
player?
sorry.
You
What
can
was
dodge
that?
Landon Collins. Okay.
Yeah.
Dynasty Intervention on the Ocho.
Oh, God.
Speaking of
Alright.
things that might matter and might not, the NFL schedule. The NFL schedule was released, and people, really seem to care. I am personally of the I don't really care about the whole strength of schedule situation. But what about you guys? Is there anything important that you look for from a dynasty point of view, from a redraft point of view within the schedule? We can talk opponents, how it's set up, home road, whatever you want to do. Chase, we'll go to you, and then I'll make sure to swing it over to our strength of schedule correspondent, Shane. So Chase, what do you have to say here while Shane gets ready?
Well, I will.
Printing his models.
He's printing his models so he can show them off in front of the camera. I will say that you can most likely start Terry McLaurin at the very end of the season and feel very safe because he's got the Giants, he's got Dallas, and he's got the Eagles over his last 5 games, which is pretty insane. I don't understand what the hell the competition committee or whoever creates the schedules is doing. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. The fact that Washington has to play their last 5 games are all up against NFC East division rivals. I've never seen anything like that. I don't think it's ever
Isn't
happened.
that good?
It's good and bad
It's
because
going to control your own destiny.
it is. It is. But if there's an injury or something like that that happens where it's a significant player, then we're talking about a little bit of an issue at that point. But as for Terry McLaurin, I mean, we're talking about his worst game up against a division rival last year was 5 receptions for 61 yards. So Terry McLaurin should have a field day again this year. I don't care about Slay. I don't care about Bradbury. I was a little bit worried about it last year. I'm not worried this year.
Shane, what's your biggest takeaway in terms of the schedule? That can be specific to the schedule, or what's something that you would actually look for when it comes to the schedule release? And please try and say something. We got a lot of air to fill here.
No. I understand we have air, so we have to say things. But
your Twitter handle's Shane Says, right? Not Shane Doesn't Say.
Play Dynasty. I could give a half a fuck about the schedule. And I'll look. It come July or August, I'll look at the schedule and I'll look at my team and I'll go, oh shit, I'm going to have, 4 guys on bye on week 14. That's not great. What should I do about that now? Oh, okay. Nothing. I'm not going to make trades for week 14 now. I'm not going to look at how a defense performed in 2020 and extrapolate that to week 13 of 2021, because we know that those have almost nothing to do with each other every year. Unless someone's got to play 6 straight road games, I'm fine. I'm sure I'll peek at it and make sure no one's playing that fun, New England, England to like San Francisco jaunt. Make sure no one has that. And as long as they don't, I'm fine. I don't care.
Yeah, I think big things for me is just the bye weeks, especially with the 17-game season and some bye weeks in week 14. I'm going to be really interested to see some of those teams that have the week 13, week 14 buys. How are they going to manage reps? Because I'm curious. Like, you're going to have teams playing almost a full NFL season, right? Prior to, what was it, 1980s? I don't know. Shane, when you were, back in your day, when it was a 14-game NFL season, essentially some teams are going to be playing that full season before they even get their bye now. So I'm a little bit interested to see how some rep management happens and if that's more of a factor with the extra game in the later bye weeks. Chase, what's up?
I just thought about this. So that means that week 14 is the wild card games, right? Where the first round teams get the bye. And
no, this is
it's
up to you. I guess if you're a shitty commissioner, then yeah. But my advice would be, like, it's now a week 18 NFL season. Just push the playoffs back a week. You don't want to have fantasy playoffs when there's people on buys.
No,
actually, for me, I'm a Colts fan.
It's
all
15,
of my teams
16,
have Carson
17.
Wentz and Jonathan Taylor. I'll have no chance.
I'm dumb. That was a dumb comment.
Yeah, literally every league I'm in, everybody went, we're just pushing the league, the playoffs back a week, right? And everybody's like, yeah, just do that. Although I got to be honest with you, I like unfair advantages and just the element of like just surprise or not surprise, but like randomness sometimes. So I think
he's just rooting for COVID cancellations last year.
It would be fun, like week 14 playoffs beginning, and like one person having like the top seed because we can't have no one's getting a bye, and just 4 of his guys or her guys just aren't playing that week. Like I would love it. Like I would crow so loud about winning too. But anyway, I'm sorry. That's just
at least all right. So week 14 is how many teams are on bye that week?
I believe it's 4. It's the Eagles for sure, the Colts for sure. I want to say Miami, and I forget the other one. But yeah,
how many times?
It's your correspondence on it.
How many teams are on bye? How many teams were on bye last year?
None, because
on week 13.
Oh.
On week 13.
Oh, week 13, there was just 2 last year. It was Carolina and Tampa Bay.
Also, the Patriots and Miami. So that's Mac Jones.
Salvan
Ahmed. These are going to be
Jared Dokes by that point in the season, probably.
Yeah, probably.
No, I think that everyone's been right. I mean, one thing that Shane's bang on about, you shouldn't care about defensive matchups at this point in the season. Like one of the things I put in one of my recent pieces on Rashad Bateman, but it certainly applies to this, is the correlation between defensive efficiency year to year. What's that noise going on, people? There we go. One of y'all.
Do you have random women in your house? And were they trying to escape? What the hell is going on there?
Clarice. Okay, well, Chase.
They gotta rattle the pipes, and that's how people know they're in there in the basement. Anyway.
Yeah, Chase, get your situation sorted if you need a moment. By all means. But,
I kidnapped Cynthia from NFL Network. That's at least what it looks like.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate. If you're going to kidnap a football personality, can you at least bring them on as a guest host? But anyway. No, like the correlation between defensive efficiency year to year is 0.09. So basically that means there's no correlation. It's really hard to maintain a great defense or terrible defense year to year. There's always going to be injuries that happen. If you want to think about a little bit for the early year, sure. In Dynasty, like, are you really going to make trades off it? Probably not unless you're a Jamoke. So I think you're going to be fine.
Wait, a what?
A Jamoke. It's like you're a bunch of Jamokes.
Yeah, you're just
it's like
kind
a jabroni. It's like
forget about it.
I rewatched Goodfellas the other night, so anyhow. Last thing, if you're playing a redraft league, first of all, I mean, come on, grow up. But if you are playing in a redraft league, I always want to seek out the people with early buys, because I'm going to win my leagues anyways because it's redraft and it's a solved game. So you just want to get the guys with early buys. You eat their buys, and then you trade them to the other losers who are 2 and 4, the Jamokes who are 2 and 4. Then you can eat their players' buys, and then you can trade those players for more players that are on buy. And you can just go cycle through bye weeks, because you can constantly go to these teams that suck and say, hey, you're 3 and 5. Fortune has not smiled upon you this year. Would you like to trade me your star wide receiver as a week 9 buy? And we'll say, yes, thank you. You're a kind and generous Samaritan. I'd be happy to provide you your star wide receiver, and then I'll give them, I don't know, Mike Davis or something. That's something you want to do for sure.
Yeah.
Any other schedule thoughts, or are we going to move on to some cut candidates here?
Let's go.
Also, I see Darth in the chat says, did I miss any James Robinson love since Travis Etienne is now wide receiver? No, in fact, Shane and I said, sell James Robinson to someone in your league who's bad at fantasy football.
Mm-hmm. So, no, buy him up, dude. Buy him up.
buy and then sell.
Oh, I can't wait to sell him in like week 2 or 3 after he has
honestly, that's a good point, because he gets the Texans week 1. So he's gonna rush for 130 yards in week 1. And there's going to be a lot of angry people in my mentions. I'll have to leave Twitter for a week for sure, and then I'll be able to come back. And
seriously, I cannot wait. Like, I'm actually buying James Robinson in anticipation that I can sell him by like week 4 and actually make profit.
Not a bad idea. 100% exposure to James Robinson week 1 DFS.
Everyone just go buy James Robinson now. Now we've completely.
If you can get him for the right price.
No, for anything. Trade Trevor Lawrence for James Robinson just so you can sell him after week 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the consensus. All right, some cut candidates. We're going to start off with real NFL cut candidates. And this is a little bit of an off-the-radar one. But Melvin Gordon. So they sign Mike Boone. They draft Javonte Williams, trade up for Javonte Williams, something that all progressive organizations would do. They're rumored to be in the mix for Aaron Rodgers, carries a little bit of a cap hit. Melvin Gordon, I think, has very little guaranteed money this year. Do you foresee Melvin Gordon being on the Denver Broncos, and give it a percentage chance that Melvin Gordon is on the Broncos in week 1? Start with Shane.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 86% chance that he shall be a Denver Bronco. I just have a feeling if they were going to cut him, look, I got a feeling like the Broncos just made a lot of moves, have not made a lot of moves that would have made sense. You know what I mean? Like getting a decent quarterback, like drafting Justin Fields when he falls to your lap, but whatever. No, and I think they like that, having more than one running back in that backfield. I mean, they liked having Philip Lindsay and whoever else was there. I guess it was really just one of
Royce Freeman.
Royce Freeman, Jesus. They like having
favorite player who will be making an appearance in the latter half of the segment.
Like Melvin Gordon, cutting Melvin Gordon doesn't help your team. I don't helps their team, so I don't imagine them cutting him.
Can the wounded Shih Tzu in the top right, when we were talking about Melvin, about your boy Royce Freeman, chime in here? Over/under has been set at 86%. Are you going to go over or under 86% that Melvin Gordon is a Denver Bronco in week 1?
Oh man, I wish it was Royce Freeman that I could say this about, but it's not. Melvin Gordon has like 100%.
Whoa, on Royce.
I wish I could say it. It's not. No, it's 100% chance that Melvin Gordon's gonna be on the roster. They have to have a 6.5 dead cap hit when they'd only save 2.4 million. So that doesn't make any sense. And then they also have Denver, who ran the ball the 4th most amount of times in the NFL last year. They don't have a very good quarterback situation. It doesn't make any sense to cut Melvin Gordon. And if he does well this year, he's an undrafted free agent the following year. Another team can sign him. He can still perform at a decent level, which could lead to a compensatory pick.
Unrestricted free agent.
You said undrafted. It's fine. No one was going to notice, but Shane decided to point it out.
Oh, did I say undrafted free agent? I'm sorry.
Unrestricted. Thanks, Shane. That makes really good radio. I'm glad we spent 20 seconds figuring out what Shane said wrong. I'm sure all of our listeners are super. Oh, Dingus says he noticed.
Thank you, Dingus. Look, I can't help it if I'm pedantic. That's how Jesus made me. And if you're telling me not to be that way, you're saying you hate Jesus. So.
Speaking of Jesus.
Yeah, I'll take the under because it was set pretty high at 86%, but I do think it's very likely Melvin Gordon is a bucking Bronco in 2021. What advantage?
Why would they keep him? I mean, why would they cut him? Why wouldn't they keep him?
Well, I mean, you save a couple million. I would say that only in the event that they get Aaron Rodgers might you need to cut Melvin Gordon just to make a little bit of extra room. Without that, I think it's very unlikely. So I'll say like 78% he remains in Denver. I definitely think that it's the overwhelming probability. Let's move on quickly to Raheem, the Dream Mostert, who for some reason people still think is a thing. His best ball ADP, and I know we're a dynasty show, but his best ball ADP is round 6. Round 6. It flabbergasts me. We'll start with Chase this time. Set the over-under. What is the percentage chance that Raheem, the Dream Mostert, is a San Francisco 49er in 2021? We'll give it to you first, Chase, and then we'll head over to Jesus.
We'll head over to Jesus. I still think that he's going to be part of the roster. I'm going to say 75% chance.
So you're saying he's Raheem Roastert?
Yes, he's roasterable. God. You were terrible tonight.
Shay, do you think, Jesus, do you think that Raheem Mostert will remain on the roster?
Stop.
I don't even want to involve myself in this pun thing that's going on right now. But I'll say he'll still be on the roster. What was it, the over-under?
75%, you think you said, Shane? Or Chase?
Look, I'm more bold, so I'm going to go 87%. He's going to be on that roster.
Wait, you have a higher percentage of Mostert being on there than Melvin Gordon, because
What
I
did I
actually
give
want to
Gordon?
go higher.
86.
I gave 86. All
You
right,
gave,
well then
you canceled him. You gave the 86 to him.
I'm going to give him the 85% then. You won
Well-
76%?
Yeah,
I'm going 80%. 80% he's on the roster.
I was gonna say 80%,
I'm
but
so
I didn't
glad
want to
you
be
guys are
too high.
precise. I'm so glad you guys are taking this seriously. I appreciate
Look,
it.
Shanahan, it's not that he likes to rotate backs, but he's found a back or two that are good in a rotation, and he's going to hold on them until Trey Sermon shows him that he doesn't need them anymore. So
$3.6 million. That's it. That's nothing. That's like a backup running back that he can use as a starter.
I'll go on the other side here. Here's why I don't think so. First of all, unlike Melvin Gordon, there's no dead cap hit with Mostert. So it's $3.6 million saved, but that's all there is. There's no worries about a dead cap hit with Raheem Mostert.
No, there's
Why is
500,000.
there? Okay, so there's no dead cap hit for Raheem Mostert. Also, now I'm hearing like technological voices coming out of one of your computers. I'm still convinced
My money's
that one
on
of you
Chase.
has someone kidnapped in a pit.
Yeah, it's
basement.
Chase.
PJ says Mostert's still in the doghouse for asking for more money. Lol, he drafted 2 running backs. Yes, I agree. San Francisco has way too many running backs.
Yes, it is.
Because they already had Jeff Wilson, right? So shout out to my uncle, whose name is Jeff Wilson. Then, that's a true story. They also went out and signed the Wayne Train Gallman. They got Mostert. Then they went and drafted Trey Sermon, and they drafted Elijah Mitchell. So they're obviously not going to cut Trey Sermon. They drafted him in the 3rd round. Elijah Mitchell, maybe he ends up going to the practice squad, but they're certainly not going to want to lose him. They still took him with a 6th round pick. Jeff Wilson cost them absolutely nothing, and he looked good. So I can't imagine they're going to cut him. I can't imagine a scenario where they're going to keep 5 running backs. It seems incredibly unnecessary. So if you look at the situation, who are they more likely to cut? Wayne Gallman, who they just signed for cheaper, or Raheem Mostert, who's making double the amount of money of anyone else on the roster, essentially making about the same amount as the rest of them combined, who they don't particularly need. I've heard nothing but good things about Mitchell in camp. They traded up for Sermon. I don't expect Mostert to be on this team in 2021. His number is 31. I'm going to say there's a 31% chance that he is on the roster.
So you explained that so well that I'm going to move his chances down to 25% of being on the roster. I legitimately forgot that they even signed Wayne Gallman. And
Wayne Gallman,
Mitchell, whatever. But yeah, no, that's a good point. All good points. You made a good point, PJ Kennedy, 21-21.
Wayne Gallman, you can cut without any dead cap.
Sure.
Why would you do that though? It's Wayne Gallman.
He's the best.
I would take Mostert over Gallman any day. And when you're talking about, $3 million for a running back, when most backup running backs pay for $3 million, I would rather have Mostert in there than Gallman.
I do agree that one of them is probably getting cut, though. I just can't see them keeping both of them and both of the rookies and Jeff Wilson. So I think it's going to be one of those two is going to be cut, and we're going to find out how it goes in camp, in my opinion.
Watch Michael Hasty. We didn't even talk about
they already
him.
let him go. I think they already let him go.
Probably. I'm just kidding.
If they haven't, they're going to.
That's how much I care about him.
Okay. Well, we don't want to be hasty about that.
Whoa, my God. Stop.
All right. It's possible, yes. No one makes the roster. Maybe no one makes the roster. Just Trey Sermon.
I was talking about
I'll
it.
use
You don't want to be hasty about that.
All right, moving on to a guy who's going to cost quite a bit more money. Jamison Crowder of the New York Jets. I believe he costs. You always have this information right up there as our cap hit correspondent, Chase. But I believe his cap hit's about $10 million, and I don't think he cost them anything, or it's very minimal in dead cap, if anything. They draft Elijah Moore, who projects to be basically exactly like Jamison Crowder. They still have Denzel Mims and Corey Davis, who they signed for big money. They also added Keelan Cole. Cut or not cut, Jamison Crowder, percentage chance that he is on the roster. Shane will throw it back to you this time to start. Set the over-under.
Wait.
Go ahead.
He will end up saving a whopping $10 million. He only will see $1 million in dead cap space. He will cost the team $11,352,000 if he stays on there.
And a partridge and a pear tree.
Shane, so the easiest way
over-under.
to say that is the dead cap is $1 million. They already have his replacement in house, who they drafted in the 2nd round. It's a completely new regime, except for Joe Douglas, but he's like new too because he's not with Adam Gase anymore. Now he's with Sala. So he didn't sign
Crowder either.
Oh, that was actually okay. So even more so, yeah. I can't see Crowder being on that team. June 1st, he's gone.
Percentage?
I'm going to go 32%. 13% he'll be on the roster. 13%. So 87% that he's cut.
PJ saying Crowder is Gone. Gone.
Go!
We'll probably sign with the Lions. That would crush Amon-Ra St. Brown hopes. Chase, what do you think here on Jameson Crowder over under 13%? And why don't you give a landing spot projection if you think he's gone?
So he's 2% that he's going to be there.
2%. All right. So James Crowder, he's a carton of milk.
He's gone. He's gone. Yeah, he's a carton. That was brilliant. That was very clever. So I think that he's definitely gone. But I think that he ends up with Green Bay. I think it's a very interesting spot. They could use a slot guy. I know they already have Amari Rodgers. I know that. I get it. But if they want to make Aaron Rodgers happy,
look at Crowder.
That's like spitting in his face. Oh.
No, it's not.
Here, Aaron, look at a carton of milk.
That's an old carton of milk. It's spoiled, and they just gave it Aaron Rodgers to chug. Aaron Rodgers drank it and spit off. No, but it makes sense. I mean, it's a good landing spot. He's highly efficient when he does play. The issue is he doesn't play very often. I mean, overall, like he ends up finishing. I mean, 15 receptions in week 1 or something insane like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but he's been very, very efficient when he plays. He just doesn't play the entire time. It's a good spot to have a rookie who is very similar to him, like sit behind him and be able to. Sorry, I just saw the message in the chat.
I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
the chat said more like a bag of milk here in South Ontario. But yeah, so anyways. I still think that Crowder will add an option that they don't have right now. He'll be efficient and he'll get hurt, and so it'll still allow Amari Rodgers to play some to be able to get some experience.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Crowder is he's very generous at this playing time. He comes in and it's been like Shane in the last 2 shows. He comes in, he's very efficient, and then he's like, I got another podcast. But in Crowder's place, it's like, oh, I pulled my hamstring. And then later you're like, but he doesn't even just get hurt in games. Like he gets hurt in practices, he gets hurt going bowling, he gets hurt drinking a bag of milk. It doesn't matter. Like I remember last year trading for Crowder at one point, which I don't really know why I did that, but I did. And then I found out 2 days later, it's like, oh, he pulled something at practice. He's going to be out for 2 weeks. And then he comes back later and it's like, yeah, he banged himself up on his like morning run. I don't know. I've had enough of Jameson Crowder in my freaking life. I think he's sure. You said he's going to be 2%. I'll say he's skim milk. I'm going to say he's 1% chance of staying with the New York Jets. And a good landing spot for Crowder. Oh, I don't know. Pretty much anywhere. But let's see. Who needs a slot wide receiver?
Not LA. Not the Chargers.
Oh, I'll you know what? I'll bring him to the Colts because Paris Campbell's also good for about 5 games a year. So if you take Crowder's 5 games, Paris Campbell's 5 games, we'll still make sure to have plenty of snaps for Zach Pascal to still lead the team in slot snaps in 2021.
Stop.
Also, shout out to Southern Ontario with bagged milk. I appreciate my Canadian listeners, but if you couldn't give Shane more fuel to make fun of Canada by talking about the fact that we drink bagged milk.
Wait, do you guys actually drink bagged milk?
I'm not from Southern Ontario, so
I don't even know how that works. How do you drink liquid from a bag?
Well, what they do with wine is they put a plug in there, and then they're able to pour it out that way.
Okay.
So
is that how they do it, or they use like a Ziploc bag?
You know, at the Indy 500, where you get like the glass of milk and they pour it all over, right? So in Canada, we have caribou racing, where we ride on caribous around a circle of igloos, and then when you're finished at the Mississauga 500, they just take a big Ziploc bag full of milk and they just smother you in it, and it's a mix between the Indy 500 and waterboarding.
I can't. We're going to put ourselves on mute because we're laughing so hard.
Dave Toronto's confirmed. He says it's real.
Put it in a bag holder.
It sounds like one of the kinkiest fucking things ever.
You ride a wild animal.
Put it in a bag holder.
Actually, it's part of evolution. I know that Shane, as the Jesus of our podcast, I know you don't believe in evolution, but it's actually a key component of the evolution of the caribou species. Is caribou racing has become so integral to the Canadian culture that they do have their own bag holders that come out. when you're embarking on this journey. Last one on the real NFL cuts, and we'll go rapid fire. Sony Michel, who's been on and off your dynasty roster for a couple of years now. He's still, I think, only 26, although he feels about 94. Chase, you just set the over-under. What is the odds that Sony Michel remains on the Patriots roster where they still have James White, they still have Damian Harris, and they've added Ramondre Stevenson?
I think they're going to roll with him. They pretty much already came out and said that they were going to roll with him earlier, him and Harris. I guess discreetly, people inside the building said that. I don't think it's very high. I'll say, I don't know, 70% he's on the roster, 75.
Over under 70 to 75% to Jesus.
50. I got to give it 50. I have no idea because it's Bill Belichick, and he apparently has already replaced him with Ramondre Stevenson, though. So
that's exactly who you replaced him with, by the way.
Yeah, I'll say 80% because when have the Patriots ever made anything easier for fantasy? Never.
That's true.
They usually make sure that their backfield is as complicated and impossible to use as possible. So let's say Ramondre Stevenson replaced sexy Rexy Burkhead, and James White's still kicking around, and Sony will still be kicking around, and all your Damian Harris dreams are about to be ruined. Let's move on here to our last segment.
Wait. Yeah. I want to throw in one more.
Please.
David Johnson.
Oh, okay.
David Johnson, I think, has like a $5 or $6 million cap hit. I think he only has like $2 million in dead cap space. They've already signed about 400 free agents at this point. It's actually like 67 or something insane like that, but maybe not that many. But either way, like I think that they can move on and use Mark Ingram. I guess
a top 32 running back in the NFL according to PFF. Mark Ingram better than DeAndre Swift according to PFF.
No, that's that's a true story.
Yeah, they released their top 32 NFL running backs, like not for fantasy, but just real life. And their list included Devin Singletary, James White, Mark Ingram, and Kenyon Drake. It did not include DeAndre Swift.
No. Get the fuck out of here. What the
Mark Ingram
fuck is happening? All right, you just made me like mad. Like you just ruined my entire fucking night. Like what?
Well, I'll FedEx you a bag of milk.
All right. So or Jacob, you can start on one. Do David Johnson.
Sure. Yeah, I think that $2 million dead cap is good because Houston actually, I don't know if anyone heard, but Houston actually changed their team name. They're now the Houston Dead Cap Space. So David Johnson is part of their mascot situation with that. I think that he's staying. It would seem kind of rude to renegotiate his deal just to cut him, although Houston is just generally rude. Yeah. So I wouldn't put anything past them. I don't know. I'm going to say 80% chance he's still on the roster, but who knows? I mean, it's not like it's benefiting them to keep him around. Like, what are they going to do? Their win total's 3.5. They're barely an NFL franchise. Shane, do you think David Johnson's still a Houston Texan? And is Mark Ingram a top 32 running back in the NFL?
I'll give him 114%. He'll be on the roster.
I'm going to take a pic
of renegotiate.
And tag you guys on Twitter.
I'm looking at it right now. They did renegotiate. That's my fault. I apologize.
Okay,
he's going to be on the roster. I was looking at old cap number that I had in my notes. My bad.
That's all good. All right. So real quick here. We've all done a lot of rookie drafts recently, and there comes a part, that sad time after your rookie draft where you go into Sleeper or MFL if you're insane, and you see the notification that says, you're 4 players over your roster limit, and now you got to go and you got to cut some dudes. So why don't you each give me, and Chase, we'll start with you since you're our official hoarder. Who's a guy that you're 50-50 on whether or not you should give up on this player and cut him into the waiver abyss forever?
This one's so tough for me, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Devin Duvernay. Devin Duvernay for me, like that's a painful cut if I have to make it. He was drafted with decent draft capital. I think what was he, like 4th round, 5th round?
3rd round.
No, 3rd round. Okay.
Yeah.
Even worse. Shane brought up before the show that he played special teams, and that's what he was used for, but I'm
the special teams correspondent. I actually brought up that point.
I don't think that was me. Pretty sure that wasn't me. I could see how you could get us confused. We're both really fucking sunny. Like we have these glowing dispositions.
Well, you guys both also agree on everything, so that's the biggest part. No, all right. So
it's not that we agree on everything. It's just that your bad takes bring us closer together.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. Like, trust me, I don't want to agree with Jacob, but you're so wrong. I don't have, like, I have to veer that way. You know what I mean?
Oh man, Shane. All right, so
Kadarius Toney, you're cutting Kadarius Toney. That hurts.
I'm
when you're gonna have to cut him.
Get out of here with Kadarius Toney takes right now. Okay, I can't handle Kadarius Toney takes at all right now. But no, Devin Duvernay was somebody that I liked coming in, and he was somebody that got in like the late third, early fourth, I believe, in a lot of drafts last year. Like he was cheap as hell. And we sat there and we saw them add Miles Boykin. We sat there, we saw them add Marquise Brown, Devin Duvernay, like we brought up, and then they signed Sammy Watkins, and I just thought they were done adding. And I knew there was still a chance they would end up with a wide receiver, but then they go out and they draft Rashad Bateman. Now it's like, who is actually going to fall off this roster? Because Marquise Brown was a stud for the last 8 weeks of the season last year. You have Sammy Watkins, who's most likely going to make the roster. You have, obviously Rashad Bateman, who, he's trash, but it is what it is. Like they drafted him in the first round, so he has to have some sort of capital, very similar to Kadarius Toney. And then you have Devin Duvernay, who
and Tylan Wallace too. They drafted Tylan Wallace.
Oh, get out of here with Tylan Wallace. He's going to at best practice squad player.
Yeah, Duvernay's not going to make the team. Good point.
So are we can we? All right.
But my thing is, all right. So my thing is like, all right, if he even makes the team, if he makes the team, which I'm not even sure if he does make the team or not now. It depends on how many other positions they want to keep. If they do truly believe in expanding their passing game, which they've came out and said, sure, Devin Duvernay has a chance to make the team. Absolutely. But are they going to keep him on just for special teams? It just depends on their other positions and how they feel about their depth on the offensive line in particular. So with Devin Duvernay, I still have him rostered, but it's like it makes me want to cut him, but he's still a keep candidate for me.
Shane, cut or not cut Devin Duvernay?
No, look, if they're going to cut a wide receiver, Boykin's been there longer, right? Or was he drafted with Marquise Brown?
Boykin's been there longer.
Yeah, he's probably used up all his get out of jail free cards. Obviously, they're not the same type of wide receiver. I think Duvernay could survive another year. I mean, this is a team that had goddamn, who was this little slot wide receiver they had for years?
Willie Snead.
Wrong guy. There's a guy we kept hoping would break out, never did, but it doesn't matter. It's always some white slot receiver that we assume is going to break out at some point, but never does. Like Scotty Miller. Yeah, I can't remember. I can't think of who he is. But anyway, I can see them holding on their Duvernay. So I think they'll still hold on them. Yep, Campanaro. That's exactly it. Good job. Yes. Every year, and every year I'd fall into it too. It felt like he was in the league for at least 14 years, and all 14 of those years he was going to break out. But
do you keep him for your fantasy team?
Yeah, if you have Devin Duvernay on your fantasy team, is he a guy you'd cut for your incoming rookie class?
Yeah, no, he's gone.
30 roster spots.
He's gone.
Yeah, I'm cutting Devin Duvernay. I actually have cut Devin Duvernay in 3 leagues because I liked Devin Duvernay as a 4th round pick last year. Didn't fire. He gone. Shane, who's a guy at the end of your bench that you're a little bit scared to say goodbye to?
A couple guys, actually. I didn't realize I still had him on my team until I activated him from the IR. Albert Wilson.
Bird alert!
Which, look, Albert Wilson's a guy. He was another one. Look, if you look at his per touch and his per target scoring, the guy's better than AB. It's just, unfortunately, he can't ever seem to get his targets above 80, and he can't ever play more than 9 games. So it's Al Wilson. We had a good run, buddy. Didn't work out in KC. I thought it could. Didn't work out in Miami. Thought it could. So you take care. See you around.
I think it'll be great in the CFL. If I have Albert Wilson, I'm going to cut Albert Wilson. Chase, would you hold on to Albert Wilson?
No, it's not Albert Wilson, but this is 3 other players.
Oh, okay.
Andy Isabella,
Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Isaiah Hodgins. Isaiah Hodgins, I have cut 7 times in the last 2 days because he is on all of my taxi squads, and I loved him coming out of Oregon State. And then I dropped him through the season, and then when they cut John Brown, I re-added him in all those leagues, and then I put him to the taxi squad, and then I went through the draft, and I was like, all right, goodbye, Isaiah Hodgins. That's my answer on Hodgins. Shane, cut or no cut? Andy Isabella this is an interesting one because
He's
hearts
dead
will
as,
break.
dead as fuck. He's dead as fuck. He's off my roster. Like he's so look, he's not even Christian Kirk level. And Christian Kirk is just he's like the next one. Like I'm looking at him already like motherfucker, you do nothing. Where I know you're not you're next. And Isabella's gone.
I might cut Christian Kirk before I cut Andy Isabella.
Dude, Isabella's dead.
I mean, that's fine.
Dead.
Like Christian Kirk's not going to do anything anyway. But yeah, Isabella yeet. Like, Andy Isabella lost snaps last year. He got healthy scratched last year for Keyshawn Johnson, and not the one who talks on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
He's been healthy scratched for a guy named Trent Sherfield. I don't even.
Yeah. Oh, good old Trent Sherfield. I remember him.
Good old Trent Sherfield.
Good old
Jeez.
Trent. Yeah, no, Andy Isabella's trash, dude. If you can trade him, you can't trade him for anything.
Let's go, Dave. Dave
Cut
in the
him.
chat.
Actually,
Andy Isabella season.
I saw a great tweet by Davis Maddock, and he said, I offered Andy Isabella for a 2023 fourth in 11 straight leagues and got declined 11 straight times. That's where we're at with Andy Isabella. What about Donovan Peoples-Jones? This one might be a little bit more interesting. He was really good last year in limited opportunities. But Rashard Higgins, who I thought might get cut, he's still going to be there. They went and added Anthony Schwartz. Donovan Peoples-Jones, if he's at the end of your bench, how would you cut him? And you know, I think in like a 30 bench league, you're probably going to keep Donovan Peoples-Jones. But how many bench spots and how much of a priority hold does Donovan Peoples-Jones? Chase, you had him on the tax squad. How do you feel about DPJ?
I have him in a lot of leagues. I'm not cutting him anywhere. He performed when given the opportunity last year. I know that he's sitting probably fourth on the depth chart right now, but he's still a developmental prospect. And you know what they did really well in Minnesota with Kevin Stefanski is get these developmental prospects up and off the ground and running. Guys like Adam Thielen, guys like
Olabisi Johnson.
Diggs. So it's going to take a minute. I think that Donovan Peoples-Jones actually has it. And I think that we could actually see him and what's the knucklehead, Anthony Schwartz, be the starting wide receivers within a year.
That would be a really bad team. Shane, real quick, DPJ cut or keep, and Dustin Ross in the chat says Tyler Johnson cut or keep. You still have hope for Tyler Johnson, and also give your DPJ take.
Okay, DPJ I'll hold on to, but there's absolutely no universe that DPJ and fucking Anthony Schwartz are the starting wide receivers for Cleveland, unless Oda Beckham Jr. and Jarvis
What if there's a fire?
Get into a duel and kill each other. That's the only way that's happening.
I said not this upcoming year, the following year, where they're both going to be free agents.
No, maybe they'll trade for Colin Johnson.
Well, that's next on my list.
Tyler Johnson, I mean, I guess you could talk yourself into holding on and you could go, well, Godwin's only back for another year, right? And it's not like they just drafted another slot wide receiver. Oh, yeah, I understand holding on to him, but he's definitely just a guy you're churning at the bottom. Like you'll drop him. Don't worry. He'll be there in week 7 when you want to go pick him up because, you know, he had a punt return or something, or he had one reception for 43 yards. So yeah, he's gone.
You know, like those dead the day that he ended the draft for me.
Have you ever dated someone when, you know, like they
nope, never have.
No. Like
never have.
Have you ever had that experience where you're dating someone and, you know, you'll go out and it seems like it's really good. Then they won't call you back and you think it's over. And then 4 weeks later, they call you up and you get really excited. And, you know,
that's because their plan A failed and you were their plan B.
Right. But I'm saying that's what Tyler Johnson's going to be. And you're going to be that girl. You're going to be like, okay, Tyler, you're caught. And then every 4 weeks, you're going to be like, hey, Tyler, do you want to go out? Do you want to take a spin? Because I just had 3 guys go on IR on the COVID list. And then it's like, oh, sorry, Tyler Johnson. I just got Van Jefferson back from the COVID list. So I'm going to put him back and you're gone.
Oh, God. He's never going to be that option for me. Sorry, I have high priorities. He's never going to be that option. I'd much rather have Colin Johnson.
Pick your favorite Johnson. Colin Johnson or Tyler Johnson?
Oh, Colin by far. Something close.
All right, I think we are. We're definitely reaching the end here. Anything else? Anything else anybody wants to say? Anything profound? Any prophecies? Any other takes on bagged milk? Really, anything before we hit end broadcast?
No, just thanks for watching and listening or doing whatever if you did those things. Great. Thank you.
Shane,
Make sure
where
you
can
guys-
we find you?
Oh, at Shane is the worst. Make sure you check out Dynasty Trades HQ. I write for DLF. I do Manic and Chill for DLF. That's about it. So hit me up sometime. And also check my pinned tweet. We're raising money because raising money for people that need it is a good thing. So don't be a douchebag and go do a good thing.
That's really nice. Chase, where can we find you? And any final words?
You guys can go find us at youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Once again, that's youtube.com/fantasy intervention. You guys can find us on Twitter at joinourcircle_. Once again, that's joinourcircle_. You guys go find me at Twitter at ff_intervention. And of course, huge shout out to Fantasy Football Discussion. You guys are amazing. Keep those comments coming in. We have all sorts of fun stuff planned for this upcoming off season, or the off season that we're currently in, but the summer more so. And with these rookie videos that keep coming out that Shane loves to analyze, there's going to be very, very exciting news happening.
Yep. And look out for my videos where I'm going to start talking about landing spot and strength of schedule importance. Those should be dropping soon.
While working out, you're going to be doing your own workout videos.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see Shane in really short shorts and Kadarius Toney's mismatched shoes out on a turf practice field, running around garbage cans to rap music, talking about strength of schedule and landing spots, right?
Dude, he's gonna be running the same. He's gonna be doing the same videos that the players ran during the practice.
Yeah.
Yep.
That you guys see.
What
Exactly
drill do you
right.
think you'd run the best? If you had to pick any workout video drill, which one do you think is most interesting to you?
Walking over to the bench. I think I would crush that. I would crush that.
What about you, Chase?
Oh man, if I don't know if I could pick one. Getting crushed by somebody in the end zone while trying to go up for a pass, I think would be my. I think I'd highlight the safeties very well.
Dustin says, can Shane do an Eskridge-esque video of using all his haters as motivation during the workout? I like the comparison. Shane's almost as old as Dwayne Eskridge, so I certainly see the comparison.
Yeah. Yep. Look for that next week, dropping with all my strength of schedule videos.
Yeah, I think I would do, personally, my best workout would be the Rashad Bateman one, which is to lightly jog down the sideline with no one near me and then catch the football.
180 catch.
That would probably be
so funny. Like, why would they hype that one? Oh man. Oh, okay. So obviously I'm a Washington fan, right? And they did this hype video with our Brandon linebacker inside, and he's sitting there and he's like warming up and he's doing like drills and stuff, but he's like doing like literally warm up videos, like him like doing stretching and him like doing high knees and him doing like really soft sprints. I'm not even talking about like excelled sprints. I'm talking about soft ass sprints. And he's like literally jogging around and it finishes with him drinking water. And it's like, are you ready for the 2021 season? Go find your tickets here. So, oh no, wait, that was Zaven Collins for the Cardinals. That's who it was. And I lost my mind. I thought that was the funniest video of all time. Zaven Collins just like this is
so funny.
So
funny you didn't even know what team it was.
Yeah. Well, Washington and Cardinals, obviously, they're very easily confused.
All right. This show has gone on far too long. I'm Jacob. You can find me FF_RTDB. When does the Faces of Death Tutu Atwell video air? I don't know. That's right, Nick. I think Shane can make a mashup of that with
week
the
one.
Video.
That's week one. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Who do they play week one?
It doesn't matter. He's going to die.
Strength of schedule. We need to find out the strength of schedule.
Literally, the
linebacker is going to deck
schedule.
him.
Does not matter. He'll be dead.
You can find me FF_RTDB. You can find me on Fantasy Intervention. You can find me a Player Profiler. I'll be on a few different shows and stuff coming up. And just check it on Twitter. Keep up to date. I'll be hopping on my Caribou, doing some laps, drinking some bagged milk. It'll be good times all around. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for putting up with us. Thanks for piping in the chat, giving us stuff to talk about, and giving me something to get out of bed every morning in this lovely Tuesday in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. So thank you, folks. Have a lovely rest of your week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.